Welcome to Okaloosa Eye on Crime. Now this month we're going to focus on the mystery of some local missing persons, hoping someone out there might have a tip that will help solve these disappearances.
We're also going to talk about the man known as the Happy Face Killer and his connection to a decades-old cold case here. And we have a statewide award for an OCSO deputy, lots of canine love to share, of course, and a list of people with local warrants on the run. So let's get started.
First up, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is continuing its search for Nicholas Nick Nelson, who went missing 6 years ago. Nelson was last seen in Niceville in August of 2017. His family and acquaintances have had no contact with him since. Now, at the time he went missing, he was 24 years old, 6 foot 2 inches tall, weighed around 170 pounds. He has hazel eyes, brown hair, and has several tattoos on his left forearm. Any information, of course, you can contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers 100% anonymously.
That's right. Next up, the Niceville Police Department's continuing to search for Jacob Irvin Lyon, who went missing 8 years ago. Lyon was last seen on November 2nd, 2015 in Niceville, and his family and acquaintances have had no contact with him since. At the time he went missing, he was 19 years old, 5 foot 8, and he weighed roughly 135 pounds. Lyon has hazel eyes, that is, brown hair, and has a scar on the left side of his chin. He also has an injury to his left arm that causes him to not be able to fully extend it. So if you have any information on him, please contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers. Remember, you can call the tip line at 850-863-TIPS. You can go online, emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com, and of course, there's the P3 Tips mobile app that you can download, and that information's 100% anonymous.
And next up is the Teresa Dusevich 1973 homicide, which investigators are still seeking some information about. Now, the 19-year-old who was known to hitchhike disappeared after leaving her home in Valparaiso in November of 1973. She was found shot to death on November 21st in some woods on the Eglin Reservation near Niceville. Of course, anyone with information about this crime, Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers. Of course, you can also call the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office with any information.
That's right, and the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office has yet another case with a missing person. This one is 61-year-old Jose Ramon Gonzalez Bosch of Clary Drive in Laurel Hill. He was last seen by his roommate on May 6th, and it's believed that he may have been forced to leave the residence with an unknown black male in a white Toyota Camry. That's all the information we have, so if you know anything else, please contact us.
And of course, as a reminder, you can find these and other cases on our website at emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com, so you can view them at any time. And now we want to talk about some of the success we've had over the last couple of months. Our statistics: we had 172 tips in September and October, led to 3 arrests, 3 cases cleared, and so far this year, our board of directors has approved more than $18,000 in rewards, so keep those tips coming.
Yeah, because you guys really have an impressive track record with your successes, and a lot of that obviously due to the community, the board of directors, and the person sitting next to me. Next up, in February 1996, the serial killer known nationally as the Happy Face Killer admitted to an OCSO investigator he was responsible for killing a woman in August 1994 and dumping her body near the Holt exit off Interstate 10. He told OCSO investigator Glenn Barbary he believed the woman's name was Susan or Suzette.
And despite the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and Medical Examiner's Office working decades to positively identify the victim, her name remained a mystery. But that changed thanks to persistence and some new technology.
Last unidentified victim of the notorious Happy Face Killer has now been identified. She is no longer a Jane Doe. Keith Jesperson is now charged with murder and of the Jane Doe that we had previously known as Jane Doe since September of '94. He's been in prison in Oregon. He's already serving 7 life sentences for 7 other homicides. Between 1990 and 1995. He was caught in '95 and admitted to killing 7 others, in addition to the one he was originally charged with, for a total of 8. He committed these while being a long-haul trucker and killed these women in 6 different states, to include California, Nebraska, Wyoming, Oregon, Washington, and Florida. The relentless efforts of the OCSO, FDLE, Florida Medical Examiner's Office, and the State Attorney's Office, as well as the private lamb Othram, it was instrumental in us solving this case. Otherwise, it would likely still be unsolved. The victim is now known that she was 34 years old, and her family is in Wisconsin. Her identity is known as Suzanne Schellenberg. It's spelled KJ, but it is pronounced SH, Schellenberg.
I don't have any prepared statement today, but I would like to just very briefly state how proud I am that the State Attorney's Office could be a part of this partnership with FDLE, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, the Medical Examiner's Office, in bringing this to a successful conclusion. I want to especially recognize Special Prosecutor Michelle Sandler from the State Attorney's Office, who has demonstrated her dedication and commitment to solving these cold cases. She's been a very large part of not only this case, but other cold cases that the Sheriff's Office has been able to bring closure to in the past several years.
In late of 2022, I attended the National Association of Medical Examiners Conference, where they were beginning to discuss utilizing a different approach to identifying the unknown, and that was through genetic genealogy. And the company Orthram was mentioned because they were starting to do a pilot project of which it would cost nothing to be able to identify some of our more pertinent cases, especially those were homicides. And immediately I asked my associate medical examiner, Dr. Lorraine Lopez, hey, can we do this? And she said, I'm on it. And sure enough, she did. She figured it out. She contacted Orthram, and within 6 weeks that we sent them the remains, they had a hit. It was unbelievable. It was truly miraculous. I thought from the beginning that we would be able to identify her, and I had no idea we'd do it in 6 weeks.
I'm really proud of the sheriff investing in this. It's clearly important, not just to the family, obviously to the family, but it's important to the community, to healing, to figuring out what happened. This is important, and I'm really proud to see law enforcement teaming to do this.
When there is any DNA available to potentially resolve cases, no matter how little, there is potential for case resolution. Othram is working through cutting-edge research and development to develop investigative leads for law enforcement with smaller and smaller amounts of DNA all the time. Suzanne's family now has answers. Suzanne's identification continues to create awareness of the thousands of other unidentified victims, not only in the United States, but throughout the world. There's over 14,000 unidentified human remains in the United States and its territories. The technology exists to resolve these cases. We're only limited at this point by the lack of funding.
Jesperson's full interview with investigators and the entire version of the recent news conference are available on the OCSO YouTube page via Okaloosa Sheriff. That's one word, at Okaloosa Sheriff.
Now we're going to get to our first list of wanted fugitives that we do every show, and these fugitives are wanted as of today's taping date, which is November 21st, 2023. And first up, we can remove Christopher Lee Watson II because he has been located since the last show.
But that's not the case for Rene Izquierdo Lopez, 47 years old. He's wanted for sexual battery on a victim under 12 years of age and lewd and lascivious molestation. So obviously any information on him, we would love to know.
And deputies are still looking for 31-year-old Timothy Tyler Turner for felony sexual battery and lewd and lascivious molestation. He was last known to live on Red Barrel Road up in Baker.
And take a look at Stephen Alexander Jameson. He's wanted for a felony order revoking bond for sexual assault and child abuse. His last known address was on Indian Trail in Crestview.
40-year-old Clint Wayne Covey is wanted for felony failure to appear for 2 counts of battery on an officer or firefighter.
And Margaret Mary Marsh is still with us, wanted for failure to appear for theft and elderly abuse. She was last known to live on Madeline's Path in Fort Walton Beach.
A new addition this month is 61-year-old Denise Evelyn Freites. She's wanted for felony violation of probation for DUI, fleeing and eluding law enforcement, as well as possession of a controlled substance, and she was last known to live over in Pensacola.
Take a look at 24-year-old Oswaldo Avelos Camacho. He is wanted for felony failure to appear for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Contact Crime Stoppers if you know where 36-year-old Clarence Lee Robbins might be. He's wanted for felony battery on an officer, firefighter, or EMT, as well as aggravated battery, last known to live on Applin Road in Crestview.
Moving over to Walton County, the Walton County Sheriff's Office is trying to locate Paul Robert Douglas Howell. Howell's wanted for felony burglary and grand theft, but he was last known to live on Jonquil Avenue into Funiac Springs.
And back to Okaloosa County, that's 37-year-old Casey Scott Dishmond. He's wanted for felony failure to appear for resisting arrest without violence, possession of a controlled substance with intent to sell, as well as other narcotics charges, last known to live out in Destin.
And last we knew for Donald Joe Mitchell, he was living out in Navarre. He is wanted for DUI and driving with a license that had been suspended or revoked.
And this next individual is wanted for violation of probation on the original charge of child neglect. That's 53-year-old Tad Keith Bowers.
And let's track down Ariel Little. She's 30 years old and she's wanted for felony failure to appear for battery on an officer or firefighter. Little was last known to leave on Carmel Drive in Fort Walton Beach.
Wrapping up our first list is 41-year-old Justin Eugene Lyons. He's wanted by the Niceville Police Department for felony violation of probation, last known to live on Red Barrel Road in Baker.
And up next, this is an impressive award when you consider how big a state Florida is. OCSO Community Resource Deputy Shane Benninger has earned a statewide honor for work combating organized retail crime in Destin and beyond. From establishing a real-time information sharing network with local and regional retailers to hosting intelligence sharing meetings for law enforcement and local retailers, he's used his experience working as a loss prevention officer, which is obviously helpful, and his investigative skills to make a huge impact.
And due to his contributions, Deputy Benninger has been profiled in the Florida Organized Retail Crime Exchange newsletter and selected runner-up for Florida Retail Federation Law Enforcement Officer of the Year.
It's a mouthful.
Well, most people, when you talk about retail theft, they think about the teenager stealing a piece of clothing. And not that that's a good thing, it's a bad thing and it is a problem. But what's more of a problem is these organized retail theft rings. So, just this year alone in the county, we've had $53,000 worth of retail thefts by these organized retail theft rings. Just this month alone, we've had $18,000 worth of theft. And Shane is the community resource deputy for the city of Destin. He saw that as an issue, as a big issue, something that he needed to address. And Shane has got a background as a loss prevention officer for some retail businesses prior to or in a break between law enforcement jobs. So he took that knowledge, reached out and did seminars with all of our retailers, educated them on what to look for these organized retail theft groups, organized them into a group that were able to use a computer program that they all had access to communicate back and forth with each other when they're having these thefts and what the descriptions of the people look like and so forth. And he's also able to access that. In addition to that, he's done training with deputies to show them what to look for to recognize these retail theft gangs. And in doing that, has really made a huge impact. We've made, I believe, 11 arrests so far this year. We've got another 19 warrants that we have applied for this year. Last year we had 13 arrests and we had 12 active warrants still carrying over from last year. So, I mean, he's made a huge impact, not just in the arrests that he's made, but in training others to recognize it and to be able to make arrests.
What's special about it is just being recognized for the effort that I've put forward. Personally, I don't think that award should be name specific because it takes a team, right? I'm not the only one out here fighting it. Yeah, I may help others, I may guide others, I may unify the retailers, but together, it's all of us. So we still have groups coming down from, Albany, Georgia, New Orleans area, Mobile area, Marietta. So we have groups from all over Orlando, Florida. We had a group come up and hit Victoria's Secret recently. So we have groups, regional groups that continue to come to this area, and they just don't come to our area. They're utilizing I-10 as a corridor. They're using 98, go up and down, hitting stores, Pensacola, all the way down as far as you can think of Panama City, and then beyond.
What do you think is the primary reason behind the success that you've had in trying to combat what is ever-growing problem?
Well, the 3 C's, and I talked about this when I received the award down at the Florida Retail Federation. You have collaboration, cooperation, and communication. In order to have success, retailers have to, communicate outside their box. If one store is not communicating with another store, it makes it very difficult to look at the totality of these groups. So I think by coaching and mentoring these different stores, these loss prevention teams, other deputies, other law enforcement agencies regarding the problem that we have, that's what's really bringing it together.
So congratulations to Deputy Benninger. And next up, we're going to move into some more fugitives. And we've got Zachary Lee Dalton to start off this round. He's 41 years old, and he is wanted for arson.
And next up is 23-year-old Christian Devontae Nix. He's wanted for failure to appear for fleeing and eluding law enforcement, operating a vehicle without a license, and destroying evidence. Last known to live on 4th Avenue in Shalimar.
And a lot going on with this next person, David Michael Williams. He's wanted for felony VOP for multiple counts of grand theft, theft from the elderly, and fraud. Last known address was John Sims Parkway in Niceville.
Final one on this list is 34-year-old Jose Alberto Hernando Cruz, wanted for failure to appear for DUI and 2 counts of child neglect, last known to live on Airport Road out in Destin.
Okay, next up, Team OCSO was honored to host free training for K-9 teams from across the country at the Public Safety Training Complex in Crestview. Now, that training was provided by K-9s United, a pretty impressive nonprofit organization founded in 2015 by Debbie Johnson.
That's right, and she decided to get involved in supporting K-9 teams after the tragic line of duty death of K-9 Barron in St. Johns County. Now, K-9s United works to support and strengthen K-9 teams with proper training, equipment, and medical care. Now, you can find out more about this organization and their mission at k9sunited.org.
Basically, K-9s United asked me to host a free seminar for the week. It's going to consist of medical, troubleshooting and tracking, apprehension, and detection.
Hope you enjoy our facility. We're real proud of it, and thank you for all for coming here, and we hope that you have a successful, safe training week, and that you learn all there is to know about medical and advanced K-9 training and so forth. This particular company, K-9s United, go across the country and they host events like this. Right here, we've been able to host free training for 47 different agencies, spanning all across the country, all the way from California to Florida.
Dog here, down. Somebody start checking my injuries. Dog's back legs. Can I get some golf pad over there? Walking away from you. That's what we are. Got the same old
The dog was searching, doing a building search, and then was injured. So now the police officers are responding to that.
You guys see how she knows that, right? Typical things that a decoy does. Yeah! You think she knows that? Ooh! So everything goes away the second she bites me harder.
Our mission is to complete this seminar in a way that takes the agencies that are attending, those teams, and we encourage them, we help them, we train them, and then we give them something that they ultimately, as a response, are becoming a much more professional product for not only the agency they work for, but the community that they're working in.
So you see how the dog's behavior is right now? Very
I think that what people don't realize is how much the canines do in the community. They're an invaluable asset to the law enforcement community.
And so it is no secret to anybody who watches this show regularly that we love canines. And we have Sheriff Aiden next to introduce you to the OCSO's newest addition. This is a 6-month-old chocolate lab training to play a vital role in detecting evidence in cases that involve crimes against children.
And the OCSO wants to express the deep gratitude to Stella Lindsay and Road Dog Rescue for donating this phenomenal pup to the OCSO for this very important mission.
Yeah, so this is going to be a dog specifically trained for cyber crimes investigation and detection. One of our passions when coming into office was to try and enhance and grow our ICAC, which is Internet Crimes Against Children. In 2020, one of my friends from Philadelphia came and she explained that they have a dog at Philly PD that actually is trained to detect SD cards, electronic devices. A lot of times these bad guys, these child pedophiles,
will hide these items, and we can't find them with just a human search. When this dog is detected, we've actually found SD cards in kitty litter boxes and other strange places in toilets that you wouldn't realize, because we're not necessarily going to find those, or we're going to miss those very small devices that are critical in us being able to provide justice to those victims out there of child crime. So it's something that we've enhanced, and we've worked tremendously on trying to build our ICAC, and so too we've become very proactive in a lot of cases and been able to charge and arrest people for traveling and trying to pick up children for the purposes of illicit acts. And so it's just one more tool in our toolbox to be able to enhance our abilities to be able to provide that service to the public. Yeah, she'll be in training. Most of our dogs, you know, technically they stay in training mode, but she's at the early stages. But our handler, he is an incredible canine handler in John Duenas, and he works with all of our canines to our tracking dogs, our multi-purpose dogs, and a couple of these dogs frankly haven't worked out that we've tried, but this particular dog looks like she's really going to be, she's really going to exceed our expectations. She's a beautiful chocolate lab. Who couldn't love a chocolate lab? She's got a great disposition. She's a sweet dog, and all of that's going to be great for the handler. You know, we have an investigator that was, you know, raised her hand and said, hey, I'll be glad to take her on. So one of our ICAC investigators is actually going to be assigned to this dog. She's going to live there at the home of our investigator, and just like all of our canines do, but she's going to be an integral part of the day-to-day success of the ICAC division of our investigations.
And the public actually played a role in helping pick out the name for the storage detection device detection dog, picking Gigi as a nickname for Gigabyte.
Yep, a storage detection device dog. That was something that a lot of people had to wrap their head around, because it's not something we had heard of before. Next up, moving to fugitives, we have Cheyenne Lee Gentry to start off this next list, wanted for VOP for possession of methamphetamine, last known to live on Oak Terrace Drive in Crestview.
We've got a new face to the show. That's 24-year-old Zachary Michael Lee Gines. He's wanted for felony violation of probation for possession of child pornography, last known to live on Birch River Avenue in Crestview.
James Clinton Brinkley Jr.'s last address was in Pensacola. He's wanted for VOP on a charge of battery.
48-year-old Justin Rafael Diaz, who was last known to live in Destin, he's wanted for felony possession of meth with intent to sell and possession of heroin.
And we have to do this one without a photo. We don't have one available, but it's Kelvin Paul Michael Wise. He's 46 years old. He's a white male. He's wanted for sexual battery.
And here's 29-year-old Zachary Ryan Steen. He's wanted for felony aggravated battery with a weapon, last known to live on Old Ferry Road in Shalimar.
This is Joseph Lee Fairchild. Fairchild is wanted for VOP for aggravated assault.
56-year-old Jeffrey Todd Wagner, he's wanted for felony violation of probation for lewd and lascivious molestation, as well as failure to register as a sexual predator. He was last known to live on Josie Road in Crestview.
And David Allen Bobbitt, he's been on the list for a while. He is wanted for fraud.
And we don't have a photo of Timothy Lee Davis, but he's a 39-year-old black male. He's wanted for felony use two-way communications device to facilitate a felony and sexual assault, last known to live on Southern Court in Crestview.
This is Thomas Edward Allison. He's wanted for failure to appear for aggravated assault on a person 65 or older. Last known address was in Destin.
Tobin Dean Collins, who's 66. He's wanted for failure to register as a sexual offender, last known to live on Yacht Club Drive in Fort Walton Beach.
We don't have a picture available for Gil Bell, but he's a 41-year-old black male who's wanted for felony, lewd and lascivious molestation, last known to live on Crooked Pine Trail in Crestview.
This one's been on the show for a while. That's 39-year-old Daniel Robert Turner O'Rourke. He's wanted for felony failure to appear for grand theft and criminal mischief, last known to live up in Crestview.
And let us know if you have any information on the location of Coretta LaDawn James. She's wanted for failure to appear for grand theft and fraud, last known address Wilson Street in Crestview.
Well, Fuddpeckers in Destin put on a special Cops Rock Family Day for the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, and it was all about showing appreciation for the hard work and sacrifices deputies make in their work prioritizing public safety.
Well, it's extremely important to us to show how much we appreciate local law enforcement and first responders in our community because of everything they do for us on a daily basis. And this is, just one day. We celebrate them every day, but this is one day where they can come out with their families, enjoy food, enjoy entertainment, and just a way for us to get back and say thank you.
2, 3. We need to collect those one away. 4, we'll get that one. 5, 7 seconds. 6.
It's hard not to respect people that their job is to keep you safe and to make the world we live in a better place. And these guys and gals that put their life on the line, literally, they deserve all of anything that we can do for them.
It can turn into a lounge shirt too.
Absolutely. You can make it work. This is for you.
You know, Fuddpucker started in 1982, and since then we've been locally owned and operated. And since that time, we've had a strong relationship with local law enforcement over all of those years, 41 plus years. And it's really important to us to keep that relationship going because, you know, it is valuable to our community and from a security perspective and also from a business perspective. We're able to do business in this incredible community because of our law enforcement.
And this was a great idea. I think you'll agree with us. The OCSO's first annual Trunk or Treat event for kids with special needs. And it was sponsored by OCSO school resource officers, and it was a hit.
Yes, it was. There was also participation from Eglin Air Force Base, 96 security forces, Fort Walton Beach Police Department, Fort Walton Beach Fire Department, Hurlburt Field 1st Special Operations Wing security forces, and numerous citizens who decorated their vehicles and passed out candy.
This year I started with the SRO program and I started at Silver Sands. I'm also a special needs parent. I have a son that's 9 years old and has an autism and rare genetic disorder. And what this does is it allows inclusion for kids in the area and also gets them out with the emergency services in a more sensory-friendly environment. Was involved with a group called Emerald Coast Exceptional Families for a few years, and this sparked the idea from their work that they do. Also thought, well, I can get a bunch of cops together and we can do an event like this that helps out the community and also gets that inclusive event for our special needs kids in the Okaloosa County.
Well, as you know, Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers does an annual fundraiser. It is our big crawfish boil, and we have confirmed the date for next year's event. It's going to be April 13th, 2024. It's going to be at Uptown Station again. And this year we will also have the Explorers Mud Bug Run in conjunction with the crawfish boil. So save the date, mark your calendars, and of course we are looking for sponsors right now, so if you're interested, go over to emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com and you can find all the packages and information available.
That's always a great event. And we do want to remind you that the folks that we outlined were wanted as of today's taping date, which is November 21st, 2023. So we do want to wish everyone happy holidays, and we want to tell you that we appreciate you watching, and also that we want you to always remember that if you see something, please say something.